being, he's our hometown hero, from Charlotte. So that has impacted Jonathan a lot.
Do you remember the brave guy, as LeBron called him, who ran onto the court right in the middle of the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers game back in 2013? Pretty intense, right? Well, today we'll be looking at the more beautiful moments between NBA players meeting their fans. Make sure you stick around because this one is going to get emotional. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First is when LeBron James met his biggest fan. You know someone is undoubtedly your biggest fan when their dying wish is to meet you. Kyle Osborne, a 19-year-old boy, was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and the treatment attempts had proven futile. The tumors had resurfaced, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. Further treatment was not an option because it was deemed too dangerous. This teenager, who ought to have had his whole life ahead of him, had just 5 months to live. His dying wish was to meet his idol, LeBron James, before his 5 months elapsed. Since he was past the age of 17, the Make-A-Wish Foundation couldn't be of much help. A physician's assistant, Laura Onorato, heard about his wish and began a social media campaign, #KylesWish. With the help of the Cleveland Youth Special Wish Foundation, Kyle's wish did come true. Kyle and his family were flown from New Mexico to Cleveland for a Cavaliers game. He not only got to meet LeBron James, but he also got to meet Shaq and Charles Barkley and tried on one of the Cavaliers' 2016 NBA championship rings. The power of social media really should never be underestimated. Next is when Steph Curry met his 7-year-old biggest fan. So it turns out LeBron James isn't the only one making dreams come true without a wand. The point guard of the Golden State Warriors, Stephen Curry, who is a favorite among children, is also in the business. He made this clear when he granted the wish of 7-year-old Jonathan Page, who suffered from a rare metabolic disorder from an early age and also suffered a stroke that led to the loss of his motor skills. Despite going through all this and struggling to regain his motor skills, Jonathan's love for the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry in particular remained unwavering. In March 2018, courtesy of Dream On 3, an organization that grants sports-related dreams for kids with life-altering medical conditions, Jonathan and his family were flown to San Francisco for him to meet with the Ohio native who grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jonathan's mother referred to the NBA player as their hometown hero. The meeting between Stephen Curry and Jonathan went well, as Jonathan spent hours playing video games with his biggest source of motivation. The generous NBA player also gave the 7-year-old various souvenirs like signed jerseys, shoes, and a book bag. Next is the time James Harden celebrated his 100-year-old biggest fan. No, your ears are not deceiving you. James Harden's biggest fan turned a century old on the 18th of January 2017. She is hands down one of his biggest fans because, of all the things she could have done to celebrate her 100th birthday, she decided to go to the Rockets and Bucks game to see the Houston Rockets star guard James Harden. He celebrated her by personally going over to her and handing her the game ball. Harden later told ESPN's Doris Burke that after giving her the ball, he couldn't resist telling her how blessed she was and how blessed he was to meet her. Next is when Dwayne Wade took his biggest fan to prom. What wouldn't I give to go to prom with my celebrity crush? Nicole Muxo asked the NBA player to prom, and he actually did. She went all out to ask him with a YouTube promposal, which was trending at the time. In her promposal, she said she had everything planned out for the perfect night, and the only thing that was missing was him. If that isn't cute, then I don't know what is. The Miami star saw the video and decided to give her a prom to remember. He showed up in a crisp suit with flowers for her. They danced together, and it was magical the entire night. To say she was overwhelmed would be an understatement, but in her defense, who wouldn't be if their favorite NBA player decided to take them to prom? When Draymond Green surprised his biggest fan, Patrick Morrison. 14-year-old Patrick Morrison, in an interview scheduled for Draymond to surprise him, stated that basketball helped him build his confidence. He also went ahead to describe his idol as being an aggressive all-rounder and likened him to a fly that one has a hard time getting rid of. Draymond, who's an American professional basketball player for the Golden State Warriors, a 3-time NBA champion and a 3-time NBA All-Star, crept up on Patrick and cut him off mid-speech. It was truly a beautiful moment between the star and his fan, with Patrick stuttering for the right words to say. The pair later spent the entire day together talking, exchanging stories and ideas. Next is the time Russell Westbrook met his biggest fan. How far are you willing to go to meet your favorite NBA player? Well, a teenage YouTuber identified as lost and unbound went as far as sweet-talking the hostess at a fashion event Russell was attending just before his book launch. This dedicated fan who never fails to proclaim his love for the player's personality, style, and overall commitment to the game convinced the hostess that he was a social media influencer who was indeed invited to the fashion event. He went in and stuck out like a sore thumb wearing a plain white shirt since he didn't know anything about fashion. However, he was not deterred because he got to meet his idol, 9-time NBA All-Star who also earned the NBA Most Valuable Player award for the 2016-2017 season. The real heartwarming moment was during the book launch when this fan got to shake hands with the player. He described it as a handshake from one GOAT to another GOAT. They also took a picture together and the fan, who is also a huge fan of the Thunders, excused his somewhat awkward look by saying he hardly got starstruck, but this time around he was because he got to meet his idol, who was the major reason he fell in love with basketball. Next is when Chris Paul gifted his biggest fan his game shoes. What would your reaction be if, of all the people who gathered to watch a basketball game, you got singled out by Chris Paul to get his game shoes? Most would totally be overwhelmed. And so was the kid who Chris Paul did single out at one of his games to give his game shoes, which burst into what we can only assume to be tears of joy. The cute blonde-haired kid who was dressed for the game in a red basketball jersey simply couldn't stop crying as Chris handed him the shoes. It was a really emotional moment as the kid resorted to embracing Chris. Well, Chris's legs, but you get the point. Finally, the young fan accepted the shoes and got a fist bump from his idol, who was all smiles during the entire event. That moment will be forever remembered. When Ada Picard met the 76ers team, this time around it was the entire 76ers team supported by the Make-A-Wish Foundation that played the role of a fairy godmother and making Ada Picard's dream come true. The 10-year-old from New Jersey had a rare medical condition called pulmonary hypertension. Her wish came true when she got to spend time with the Sixers in their locker room ahead of their game with the Golden States. She had the most adorable reactions when she met the players. When she was asked who her favorite member of the team was, she stated that it was Ben Simmons. According to her, Ben Simmons told her that he wore yellow shoes because they were her favorite color. How cool is that? The player who was NBA Rookie of the Year 2018 and NBA All-Rookie First Team 2018 proceeded to give her the shoes after they both spent time together doodling on them. Her mother, Kristen Picard, supported this choice and said Ben was a nice person who made her little girl feel special. Ada also got to sign a one-day contract with the team and they gifted her a jersey with her name on it. Next is when Kyle Lowry met his 14-year-old biggest fan. Being good really does pay. 14-year-old Christina Alvarez was raised by her mother, one of the biggest activists in Regent Park. Inez raised her children to become model citizens, and as Christina grew up, she became very committed to giving back to the community and helping people in whatever way she could. Shelby Weaver met Christina while coaching her brother's basketball team, as Christina was always present for every practice and game. When the opportunity came and Sport Check wanted to surprise a well-deserving NBA fan, Shelby was quick to recommend Christina. Christina was given an all-expense-paid shopping spree to a Sports Check store. Yes, she could pick anything she wanted for anyone she pleased and the bill was already covered. You think that's amazing? It gets better. Sport Check brought out Kyle Lowry, the teenager's favorite NBA player, to hang out with her the entire day. The look on her face when she saw him was priceless. He helped her pick out jerseys, sneakers, and hoodies. They did a lot of other fun things, which include pretending to be sports analysts and shooting some hoops. Finally, he took her to their locker room, and she got to take pictures sitting in Kyle's chair. The day ended on an extremely joyful note when he gave her 2 courtside tickets to the Raptors' weekend game. When Kobe Bryant of blessed memory met Coach Danny O'Fallon. Coach Danny O'Fallon, when diagnosed with stage 4 intestinal cancer, never let the feelings of helplessness or sorrow weigh him down. Instead, he clung to all these reasons he had to live, and he fought to stay alive. He knew he had to stay alive for his daughter, for his wife, and also for his team, which he had developed a very strong bond with. In an interview with Kelly Clarkson, he shared how important his boys and family were to him, and how even on his worst days, he would still find the courage to turn up for the team. His team showed up to appreciate him, and it was an emotional moment for all as they gathered around their coach and engulfed him in a hug. Shortly after, Kelly, the host, called out Kobe Bryant himself to come on stage, and this was an even more emotional moment as they were all pleasantly surprised to see the NBA star. He came on stage and gave the high school coach and his team some touching words of encouragement. Whether they are handing out game shoes, game balls, jerseys, or even shoe pads, one thing is certain. Whenever NBA players get to meet their biggest fans, it is sure to be a pleasant experience. So that wraps up the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.